Hello? Okay. Hello? Yeah. Right. Okay. Great. Yeah. So today I will tell you about the RAMES framework. It is a framework that you're supposed to use in Project 4. And we will finish the lecture from Tuesday. Hi, nice to see you. So I will go through the last part of user observation, and in the fourth project you will do formal user observation, and you will also use the RAMES framework. So both these things that I will cover today are relevant for the fourth project. Okay, so we didn't go through how you gather data during observation. You could do it either by having some equipment like a recorder. I sometimes do that, or even use my phone to record just the voice. But sometimes you could also log everything that is happening or record what is happening on the screen. And now it's very easy, like I'm doing now with YouTube. It's really easy to start that. So that is not a barrier. You could also have recorders to see the user and their reactions. Like on the picture here, they have a video recorder there in the corner. And this is also for, and typically you would also have another one in front of the user to see how the user reacts, the expressions. But you could also have a note taker, and here they are doing both. They are both recording, and there's this guy there sitting and taking notes. So the note taker should write everything that happens, especially the problems that the user has. And now you know the authors of the book very, very well. So they would say preferably on paper. And I think that is also good because you don't have the sound then of people tapping on the keyboard, and maybe it feels a little bit like the people are more focused on this and not on Facebook or something else. I could really feel this when I was participating as a user in a user test here like 2-3 days ago. And there were 3 students asking me to do this, and one of them in the middle took up his phone and were checking everything. And I told him afterwards, I could really feel I just instantly got irritated because he was sitting beside me, and it was for me it was like a signal of nothing interesting is happening, or I don't care about this user anymore. A little bit like this. And he said, yeah, I understand, but it was because there was somebody waiting for me and I had to check and so on. And there are always reasons, But I think when people are helping you, you should pay a full attention to them. Okay, so this is the data gathering. What should be avoided, and we could see this a little bit yesterday when you were doing the user testing in the problem solving class. Some of the groups did not prepare for where the user should sit. So the user came there and they would just read there, and the user knew where to go because they knew she knew in what group she was, but she was like, oh, okay. And then she got herself a chair and found out where to sit. And if you don't know the people very well, this can be hard. So try to have everything ready. The first task should be quite easy. So you get this like good feeling. Okay, I'm doing okay. This is fine. So avoid having the first task too hard to solve. Avoid having the tasks unrealistic. So realistic meaning, is this something that people would do? Is this something that is often done, or is this something that you could like imagine doing? And you can also maybe make it more realistic if you tell a little bit of a story in the task description. Like for this psychological department of the hospital, you could just say one of your relatives is having anxiety, something, and you would like to learn more about what that disease. Check if you find information on the web, so you could relate to these. Okay, there shouldn't be any help in the tasks. I covered that yesterday. No, on Tuesday, you shouldn't say find information by opening this and opening the next one and go to the button and find the link there. You shouldn't help them. Only say what the goal is, or the real motivation is. The conductor, see, these 5 and 6, these are complementary. So the conductor has to help the user when the user has problems. Did you experience some problems with this, finding the way when to help the user yesterday? Because you shouldn't leave the user there and having problems and being like helpless, and he doesn't know what to do. But you shouldn't support him too early either, because then you won't experience the problems and he won't feel that he's in control. So if you just see, he has this problem, you will just back him up saying, you should just do this and you should just do that. Then it can't be like you are taking the control from the user. You see, it's a little bit like, it's only this and only this and only this. So the conductor is doing it all for you, and you're not running the task yourself, not getting the alternatives to find the way. So 5 and 6, you should not help too much and not too little either. Oh, yeah. Then the conductor shouldn't defend the system. I have experienced this a little bit. So if you have a problem, people could start to say, okay, you have this problem. This is just because this version is not complete, and our database manager, he has been sick for a while, and this is why this is like that. You don't care. You just have this problem. Doesn't matter. So every time that people have problems, you just say, thank you. It was very good to get this information. We are redesigning, and it's thank you for sharing this with us. Even though you've heard that this same, or seen the same problem happening, with the 4 users that came earlier on or something, you should really look at it as it was very valuable to find this problem. Okay, the conductor helps without knowing it. This is, I think, the hardest one. And then it also just gave up. Okay, The conductor helps without knowing it. It could be some like, so you're giving like a hint that he's going the right way, or, but you don't really know this. So I think this is maybe the hardest to avoid. But maybe the note taker or some people there could help. Ah, I don't like this. The suggestions from a participant for a change is answered, yes, we've already thought about this. This is in the same line that defending the system. So you should always take the problems very, be happy to hear about all problems and not like, because if people tell you about something and I think this should be so and so, and you say, we've already thought about that, they won't tell you any new ideas. It's just shutting them down. Yeah. So it is a challenge because we would like all information to come. How did it go to make people talk yesterday? Were people active in talking, telling you about problems they had yesterday? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What about in the other groups, like for you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In the project, when you get people that don't know about this method and so on, it's maybe harder. Yeah. So then if people are not talking, you could post them like, what are you thinking about now? But you have to have the sound in the voice very friendly, like not what are you thinking about? The same words, but not, the same sort of message. So you have to encourage people to think if they stop saying, because you would like to know about the problems. And then the last but not least, no discussion after the task solving session. This is very, very important, because after the task solving session, then you can ask people, okay, so what is your opinion? Can you give us any advice as how to redesign this? And then you often get very, very valuable comments. And I've even experienced when I've stopped the recording, I'm taking my jacket, I'm really leaving. Then sometimes people say, I thought about one thing. It's very important. I think this and this and this, like the very last thing they say. So we should leave some space for this. So if you've told people that you will use 1 hour for the user testing, and you can see that you've only covered like 6 of 10 tasks, don't drop the discussion. Drop some tasks instead. So you should actually decide which are the important tasks. And when you see this is, going more slowly than I expected, you could just take out the tasks that you thought were not as necessary. But you should always leave 5 minutes for the discussions, 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. Pilot testing, it's very important because as you could feel yesterday, there are many things that you're supposed to think about. You have to have the introduction, you have to have the tasks in place, you have to have the if you're doing paper prototypes, you have to have it lined up, and which one is coming next, and how will the system respond, and so on. So yesterday you had 3 four, 3 roles of the people that were doing the testing, and then the user coming. And so it is very good to do like a rehearsal of this. And you could do that within the group. Just run everything and see if everything is running smoothly. So it doesn't need to be a perfect representative. It's more like going through all the process. And the goal is then to try out all the material and practice the process and check the system. Check if everything is there, if the prototype is complete, in this case, in your case. Okay. So the most important thing is maybe to always communicate to the users that the system is being evaluated and not the participants. Sometimes when I'm doing usability testing or user testing, that people start, if they have problems, they start to think, I'm not that skilled, I haven't practiced. I've never seen this before. I've been sick, something. They say like, it's maybe a fault of mine. And then you have to tell them, okay, no, it's not you, it's the system. This system is supposed to be designed for all people, so it should fit you also. And we are very happy to see the problems you have, because then we have possible, we will, we are happy to find the problems at this stage, because that we can redesign and make the system better. So if the participants have problems, it's the fault of the system. Yeah, and this one, the goal is not to solve all the tasks. I told you that you just ask them to solve one by one. Don't give them a whole list of tasks. Because if you run into the situation that this user needs a lot of time, and you've told, you have 10 tasks there and they only cover 5, they feel like they got 5 on the test, or the exam. But if they do 5 out of 5 that they got 10. Yeah. So you don't have to tell them how many tasks there will be if you need to take some out. Many people ask me, how many users do you need for doing user testing? Actually, it has been shown that 3 to 5 users are enough to gather information about all the severe problems. What would you think? If you are planning a user testing, what would be like your immediate approach? Yeah? Yeah, right. Yeah, but then you have maybe 5 for each task. I think actually it's surprisingly few people. So I think often people that are not used to doing user testing, they think you need 10 or 20 to get like a holistic view. But if you're only searching for the really serious problems, 5 users are actually enough. They will all, users are more similar than we think, actually. Okay. So it is still a hotly debate, but we often say that we need 5 users. But if the interface is complex, if you have like experts and they are doing really complex things, you need more people. And especially if you don't have people that are domain experts in the area and so on. So it really depends on the goal of the evaluation. But if the goal is to get all the serious problems, 5 should be enough. So in the 4th assignment, you will do formal testing and involve as many users as there are students in the group. So hopefully, especially for the groups that have 4 students, you would find a pattern of problems. What do you do about the results of the user testing or user observation? You could register it in a sheet like this. So you would just say what date was it, who was the what people had different roles, you know, who was the conductor, who was the note taker, who was the system operator. And then you would like list the problems. And for each problem, you have to have a number and then a description. You could say, where is it in the interface? Like it was on the front page to the left. It was in the, maybe the input field for the magnification, something. What was the problem of the user? You know, what, and then you could use the words that the users say. That's very good if you have quotes. So the note taker could maybe write really down what the user said. So maybe a user would say, I think this is terrible. It's so strange to be forced to put in an integer value. Why can't I just use my my fingers to magnify on a touch screen? You could write this down. If you are evaluating based on guidelines, you would also say which guideline was it that you found this problem with. And then you would rate the severity. You could rate the severity now. How much did this affect the user? Did it affect the user that much that he or she didn't finish the task? Then it's very severe. If the user finishes but has problems, severe problems, uses a lot of time, it would be middle. And then minor is like small. It's more like a hiccup. It's small things. I have to tell the technical department that it's going off and on all the time. And then you could count how many serious problems are there, how many in the middle, and how many minor. This is from usability testing we did. So we had 6 serious, 3 middle, and 7 minor. And you could also, describe the problem by having the interface and then, just write. User can know, it should be, user can now change the size of the letters. You can show how you approach the problem by giving comments to the interface. This is a list of the problems that we had here. So we have the 6 problems, and we have only like a name of each of them. So they don't find the email list, they don't find the map, and so on. And here there is a description of everything. So don't find the email list, And there's a small description, 2 lines here. Okay. We started actually doing this yesterday. This is a success rate for doing user testing. So we have the tasks from left to right. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tasks. Yep, 13 tasks and 4 users. And the L, it's for that they finished. The O is not finished, and parsley was H. And then you can give it 1 for finished, half for partly, and 0 for not finished. And then you can count what, if everybody finishes all the tasks, it's 100%. You see? And partly could also be if you help them a lot. They finish, but you help them a lot. So it's not like going smoothly. So from this table, you had 37.5 scores against 49, which is 4 multiplied by 13. No. Yeah, because they were, for one user, we didn't ask him to do the tasks. This was the user that took very long time. So the, what is it, hashtag there? It's for the tasks that they didn't get. User 3 didn't get task 13, 10, and 9. Yeah. So it was a total of 49 possible points. So you could see the success rate is 77. I think it was a little bit higher yesterday. We had, I think, 5 that were not. I think we had, okay, so we had 3 tasks and 7 users, that's 21. And I remember there were 2 tasks that had 2 zeros, and so there were 5. I think it was 16 against 21. What is that? Can you calculate it for me? How much percentages is it? Yeah. Okay, similar, very similar. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, you're touching a very, very good point. So what would be the preferred value here? That would be, what would we accept? Yeah, I think so. What would you think? You're designing something, it's supposed to be used by everybody, and you would want them to do, especially if these are core tasks, like, you're doing the weather there and getting the weather forecast for your location. That would, you would like 100% success rate there. Yeah. So, but you can use this as a criteria, as a, measurable goal. So having saying, well, I don't want the success rate to be below 90%. And if it's 77%, I have to redesign. I have to do some changes here. And where would I then do the changes, do you think? Can you see from the table where we would focus our redesign? Yeah, there, where all the O's are. Yeah, because these are the difficult ones. You're right. The OLAP, that's the new marketing thing that we had on the web, and nobody found it. This was like our selling point, and it was a great thing. But the only problem was that nobody found information about it. So, of course, we should redesign there. And also the next one, this is for finding the way to the store. This is maybe not as important because this was like a map. Like for Reykjavik University, you have a map of the house, so knowing where to go. So of course you maybe check what is really important for us, and where is the most value. We see they have a lot of problems, and we have a lot of value correcting this. Yeah. So I told you about the data gathering before. This is duplicated. So we should encourage users to think aloud, because then we get information about the problems. Yeah, people may feel bad about criticizing an interface. So that's why we have to be so friendly and thank them and so on. People want to be polite. This is like their core thing. So people don't want to be negative. So we have to sort of encourage them to give everything and be open on getting feedback. One thing that I wanted to tell you also about this, that you could have a reflection session, and that is, we can ask the user to do something, and we don't ask them to think aloud. But afterwards, we can sit down. Maybe if we have recorded it, we can show the user the recording and ask, what were you thinking at this time? I can see that you were doing, going all around with the mouse. What was the problem? This is called a reflection session. So users give feedback after the session. This is also possible. And if you have a system where you are really engaged, like we were doing user testing on a VR system, virtual reality here, then they couldn't talk. They were just having the glasses, they were in the game, and they couldn't be saying, now I'm doing this, and now I don't know where to go, and so on. It was awkward for them. So we asked them just to play the game, and we videotaped them. And afterwards we sat down and we videotaped also the reflection session. So the reflection session was as long as the user testing session. You see? So it depends on the system you're evaluating. Yeah, often when we are delivering the data, we write up a report, short and clear, to the point report on what problems they had. So, but then you have to consider who are reading the report. So this was actually written in a report to the marketing department for this company we were doing this for, and for the managers. And this is also from a report that we wrote for explaining the results of the user testing. Yeah, I've done. Okay, we have 10 minutes, or how is it? Maybe we should start a little bit about the RAMES framework, so I'm not always running behind. Okay, so this is an overview of the RAMES framework. The RAMES framework my uh, is a model that I made. I started making it in my PhD studies in 2009, and then it evolved. So I had the first version in 2009 in a thesis I wrote for a. It's called a licentiate degree. It's not a master and not a PhD. It's there in the middle. Okay. So I wrote a first version then the second version in my PhD thesis, and now I've done the third version. And the motivation is to help people describing how they do user evaluations or usability evaluations. Yeah, so you can see there are many things there that you're supposed to describe. So this is like an overview of the RAMES framework. So the objective is to support IT professionals, people working in making software, to conduct user-centered evaluations. And it supports them while they are planning the user testing. So in project 4, you will be asked to plan, to evaluate with users. And you have to decide, okay, we are evaluating with 4 users, but where should we do it? Who will be the conductor? Who will be the note taker? And so on. And this is, the RAMES framework is helping you in remembering all the things that you have to remember or define when planning. It is also helping you when you are documenting. So afterwards, you can take your document and say, but this wasn't the case because this guy was sick. So it wasn't him that was the conductor, it was another one. And we had 5 tasks and not 4. And these were the tasks and so on. So you can document really how was the evaluation? How was it conducted? So first you're planning, and then maybe there was a change of schedule. So you change the document. And you can also document, which is maybe the most important thing, is how valuable was it? How much information did I get? Was the setup good enough, or should I improve it? So you can actually document some suggestions for improvement, or saying, well, having 4 users were enough, but I would like to have 6 users next time. I would maybe want to have 3 in their homes and 3 here at RU, or, you have some thoughts when you have already done this. So, and also remembering, we did the evaluation when we had the prototype 0.1.2, what version was it of the software that we were actually evaluating? Because it changes all the time. So you document, what happened. So it's used to plan evaluations and describe what was done. And it, my supervisor, Jan Gulliksen, he is also a co-author of this framework. I'm the main author. It's more, it is actually my idea, but he has been helping out and doing brainstorming work and working with me on this. And also Niklas Hallberg, which was collaborator, especially during my PhD studies. So I will put description on other material on the RAMES framework. So RAMES, it takes the name from the first letter of each of the factors there, or categories. So R for roles, A for activities, and so on. And for roles, you have 4 roles: the users, evaluator, observer, and recipients. Observer yesterday could be the note taker. Actually, the recipients, these are the people that will get the data, that get the results. So hi. So the equipment to use the software. Okay, yeah, we'll do that later. Then you have the activities. These are the things that you have to define. How will we, what is the purpose? When will we have this? At what date? When? How will we conduct the evaluation? And so on. So you have a lot of activities. You have some materials. It could be like yesterday you had the tasks. That would be a support material for the evaluation. And you also had the system. It was in a prototype stage. You can define what type of software it is and the characteristics of it, what part of the software you are evaluating. It was only like the front page and some error messages that you were evaluating yesterday. So it is defining really how did this evaluation happen. And for each of the factors, you have a description. So this is a description for the users. These are participants that can be actual users or expected actual users. Yeah. And this is when you have users involved. If you are doing an expert evaluation, you can also use RAMES to describe expert evaluations, but then you don't have any users. So then it's just not applicable. Yeah. So for each of the factors here, there are 22 factors from R1 to R4. And then, you have 5 factors for the activities, 5 for the materials, 3 for the environment and equipment, and 5 there for the system. And you describe each of them. Okay. So we could go through the roles and then stop. So the evaluator is the one that plans the evaluation. You had the conductor yesterday. That would be, conductor or evaluator. That's the same thing. So it's the one that is really running the evaluation. So the evaluator manages the different activities and keeps track of what's happening. And you have the observers, and these could be note takers. So yesterday, the note taker would be registered in this area. What I want to show you, I have descriptions of all the roles, but in the end, you will get a table like this. When you have done the RAMES framework, or, gone through the RAMES framework, you will get a table like this. And here we have an example of from one user evaluation where I have filled it out. So for users, there were 6 users evaluated. workers in the aluminium company. And this is for planning. So now we see at least 6 workers. We should consult the manager. So, this is a planning document. The evaluator will be me, and the observer will be Sigrun Eva, which was at times the teacher in Greiningen Hönnen. And then the recipient, the person taking care of the results of this, was the IT manager at the aluminum company. She asked for this. So, it is really defining all these things. Okay, but we can't, we don't have time for more now. I will give you more on Tuesday. There was one thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Since you are, so now you will get a prize for coming. Okay, so we have this. No, another name. Oh, okay. Okay. So this is the schedule, how it is now. Next Tuesday, you will get online lectures, so you don't have to attend next Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday there will be presentations, 10-minute presentations, and this is in the schedule for the project. And then the week after, Birna Iris will come and give us a lecture on workshops. And I will give you an introduction to Project 4. And then on that Wednesday, Birna will take care of the problem-solving task there. Similar to the mapping. She will, being in control, story mapping. She will take care of the problem-solving task. Okay. And then we have lectures. One lecture. The week after, there's nothing because I have to leave for a conference, but you will be working on Project 4. But then you will deliver in on Monday, on the 31st of October. And I have been wondering, how do you feel about presenting again the 4th project? Should we have a presentation there, or should we have more like the, the normal thing of having a presentation and then a problem-solving class with a separate thing, not you presenting, but doing some group work in the problem-solving. So not having you present 2 times, only once. Have you any opinion about this? Yep. Uh-huh. Okay. I was thinking that maybe it would be good for you to do the presentation after the 3rd, because then you can learn from the others and maybe use that for your project. And also I've announced it, so I don't think I would like to back, I think we stick to that plan. The thing that I'm wondering about, if you would like to present again, or if you would like me to do more like a normal thing, like having lectures and problem solving. And then, and not doing a presentation again. Do you have opinion about this? It's your turn now. You can tell me and now, yeah, okay. So the thought there, asking you to present, was to then present the results of project 4, because you're going further. You have some measurable goals. You have, you designed more. But I don't see, there's not that much registration for the presentations for project 3. So I was maybe worried that people don't like presenting, or, would like maybe to do another thing. So yeah, I've just been wondering, do you think it's a better use of the time to do group work like we've been doing on Wednesdays instead of doing presentations? Or should we stick to this plan? What do you think is interesting in doing? Do you think? What? Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that could maybe be the thing. So I could suggest an alternative for the. I will then do it for the second presentation, because I don't want to change the definition now. It's too late, I think. But we still have time for this, for the fourth project, because that is not defined. Okay. So how many support only one presentation? We are saying maybe we should have only, we have presentations next week on the projects. And I'm asking, do you think it would be good to have another presentation on the 1st and 2nd of November, or if we should change the schedule to something else? Do you understand my question? Yeah, okay. Yes. And I scheduled it deliberately there so you could learn from them and maybe take some ideas and see how they are doing and so on. So maybe that is enough. I get the feeling that people would be happy only presenting once. I'm just thinking, what do you think you learn the most from? Is it seeing what the others? It was nice to see the affinity diagrams of everybody, the people that came there. I think also the session where you brought the visions and you got feedback, it was also nice. So maybe I haven't really decided what would happen there during the 2nd of November, but maybe we could also do it more like a speed dating or something for the final. You see, that you bring something and show and you get people to talk to or something. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Maybe you could do that. Yeah. Yes. Right. You're standing there. It's yeah. 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 So we could do that then on the 2nd of November, because that's the problem solving session, and then we will change what we do on the first one. You don't have to. It won't be as. It will only be one session. Okay, good. And I will be here if you want to discuss with me about the project.